Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and today I'm super excited to be talking about one of my favorite cards from Perfect Order slash what's it translated here? Oh, it's untranslated as anything. Perfect Order slash Nile Zero is translated here on Limitless, and that is one of the three special energies in this set. If you don't know, there is some special energies. I expect there to be 8 to 10. We'll see. Some set of them across like the next handful of sets, and of course that's one for each type that gets it. Probably not dragon, probably not colorless. I don't know. Last time they did this, there was one for colorless, but anyways, there's going to be one for at least all the 8 main types and maybe some others, and presumably in the one that's the coolest is definitely Telepath Psychic Energy. I'll quickly talk about them in general and what the other ones do. So I actually talked about this in a video maybe yesterday, but I was like, I really want to talk about this card more. This card is super cool, and I'm really interested in hearing people's thoughts on it down below in the comment section. There's some face value stuff that's like, I mean, it's a good card, right? I think it's pretty clearly a good card. But there's some really interesting conversation about it as well. But anyways, these are all energies that are special energies, so they're not basics. That means they can't be recovered by Night Stretcher. You can't stretch them out as easily. They get disrupted more easily. So that's the downside of these cards, which is very real in some situations. But sometimes it's not that meaningful either. And then they all provide the energy that it shows on them. This isn't true for all special energies, like Luminous doesn't always provide an energy of a type, sometimes it's just a colorless, but these will always provide the energy of the type that they show. So Telepath Psychic Energy is always Psychic, the Grass one's always Grass, the Fighting one's always Fighting, no matter where they are when they're attached to a Pokemon. I believe they don't provide any energy when they're not attached to a Pokemon. Um, I'm pretty sure these can't be like accelerated through the use of like anything, unless it accelerates any type of energy or any energy that isn't just basic. But anyways, these are energies. So if you attach, for example, Telepath Psychic Energy to Dragapult EX, it's still the Psychic Energy. However, they all have another part to them which says that there's some benefit, some upside, because if there wasn't, they'd just be worse than regular basics. When they are attached to an energy, or when they are attached to a Pokemon of the same type as the energy. So when Grow Grass is attached to a Grass energy, I keep saying it. Grow Grass energy is attached to a Grass Pokemon, you get 20 more HP on that Pokemon. Rock Fighting Energy, similar to it's another defensive one. You prevent all effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to the fighting Pokemon this card is attached to. I think both of these are kind of meh. Grass Energy useful against I mean, it's extra HP, so that's like cool. I don't know exactly how useful it is in what situation, and even what deck this would go in. And then Rock Fighting Energy. Fighting is actually a pretty interesting type post rotation. I think Fighting and Psychic are maybe the two most interesting types. They got some really cool support pieces. Not necessarily the best, but the most interesting. That's obviously very subjective. But rock fighting, stopping effects of attacks is good, right? You see specifically within the meta game. I'm actually not really sure what the meta game's gonna look like post rotation. I don't know. I feel like Dragapult's gonna be super good. I've said this before. Other decks that look interesting. I mean, I've heard a lot of talk about both Alakazam and Lucario. Big Lucario. I don't think either of those are that good. I think they're okay, but against Alakazam, if that deck is good, or even if it's like just like fine like it is now, this completely, mostly completely shuts it down. Alakazam places damage counters, which isn't effective in attack. So anything that places damage counters, like it says it places damage counters, you will stop, which is like really nice. And so Alakazam plays like enhanced hammer to counteract that. But if you put 4 rock fighting energies in your deck and they can't get them all off, then Alakazam can't really do anything. I guess if they knock out 2 Mega Lucarios, then they win still. But anyways, it is very good there. Also against Dragapult EX, of course, placing damage counters as well on your bench. So that is nice. It stops effective attacks, not stopping like Dust or anything, but definitely a nice little card. But Telepath Psychic Energy, I think, is the one that really shines here. And this one has an effect when you play it, so it like your energy, it does something when you play it. And so this is when you attach this card from your hand, of course, to one of your Psychic Pokemon. You search your deck, or you may search your deck for up to 2 basic Psychic Pokemon and put them onto your bench, then shuffle. This is this is a nice effect. It's kind of like Mighty Mighty Poppin', kind of better, kind of worse, right? But this gets 2 basic Psychic Pokemon from your deck onto your bench, which is very good. Specifically if you're playing a deck that is a Psychic deck, right? So if you look at a deck like Alakazam, I think this is the most obvious use case of the card. Alakazam is going to be probably pretty decent post rotation, actually quite good with the rotation of Iono. Though I'm a bit of a doubter that it's going to be like amazing. But anyways, Alakazam does play, it uses Psychic Energy to attack, and it needs Pokemon in play. That being said, it only needs it only plays one line of Psychic Pokemon, right? So will it wants a lot of them, and you will get decent value out of Telepath Psychic Energy. Also, I will say this is the translation of the name. So Willis is coming out very soon in Japan, like at the time of releasing this. I think it's today. Then it's going to be translated something like this, but when it actually comes out internationally, it might have a different name. The text should be accurate there on what it does. But Alakazam, you can attach it to your Alakazam line, get 2 Abras, and that is good. That being said, as the game progresses, like if you want to put 4 copies into the deck, which I've seen a couple of lists, I think, and I think they have been playing 4 copies, then at that point, you'll see that like you're gonna run out of Abras to get from the deck, right? So it's not like super broken, but it is good, right? And then also you have the fact that you are looking, for basic energy, specifically for like Wondrous Patch, Light Stretcher. Tulip is rotating, but Lana's Aid you could play, maybe things like that. Well, when I say things like that, I mean those cards. Nothing else in the deck actually interacts with that. And so that is a downside. I don't think you can cut all the basic psychics from the deck. But it is good, right? It is setting up your board. It would be better if like the Dunsparce line was also psychic. I think you're ideally looking for a deck running 2 psychic lines. Can't really think of the deck off the top of my head that uses that. I'd be really interested, as I said, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts in the comment section. And this is one of the things where like, what deck is it going to be super amazing in? As I said, I think it's pretty good in Alakazam. Like it's a nice, good, powerful inclusion within the deck, and it works well. But looking at other decks, I feel like there should maybe be something a little better. What's Slowking run? I don't. Slowking is going to be bad. Okay, Slowking is kind of bad now, but it's going to be bad post rotation as well, presumably, right? But anyways, I guess there's also good general Pokemon like Latias EX and also the Duststorm line and Monkey Dory. These are all good cards. And they're all psychic, right? So this is actually where we get to the really interesting part of it, in my opinion, where I'm wondering if it will see play within Dragapult. Dragapult EX is very good right now, right? And the way it's currently built, it's special energy. Okay, actually, this is the list I currently run. I kept this off the limit list, not like the most normal list, apparently. So, anyways, let me pull up a different list here. Yeah, and then that list is probably fine, but let's find. Sure, I'll look at this list. I think this is a bit more of what I'm looking for. And so we see that the list is running one Monkey Dory, 2 Duskulls, and a Latias EX, which will obviously matter for this. And then the energy count is 3 Luminous. It's got 2 Psychic, 2 Fire, and a Neo Upper Energy, and Hilda to stretch out special energies as well. And then you look at the other supporters in the deck, and it's like Iono, Lilies, Sun Research, Electros. So some of these like cards are rotating, right, which is gonna matter for this. But Dragapult EX itself needs psychic energy to attack with. Yes, it's not psychic, right? It's not a psychic Pokemon. Theoretically, if we get a psychic Dreepy, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we don't have a psychic Dreepy in standard. We have had psychic Dreepies in the past. I think all the other ones have been psychic. But yeah, this card is super good because you get like amazing value out of it. But if we don't, it's still okay because you can attach it to Dragapult EX. Okay, well, it's okay because Luminous Energy is rotating. Luminous Energy, I mentioned earlier, it only provides the energy of a type that's not colorless if it's attached to a Pokemon without another special energy. So you attach Luminous, and then you attach Telepath Psychic, you can't attack, which is obviously bad. So, or you can attack with Phantom Dive. So yeah, without Luminous, then just attach a Psychic and then attach attach Telepath Psychic, which functions very similarly to a basic Psychic, and then attach a Fire, and that's fine, right? There's minor downside, which I mentioned earlier, recovering it being more vulnerable. I don't know how big of a deal that is, but to be honest, you have that same issue in standard with Luminous. And I feel like it's not exploited very much, so it's not something I'd be super worried about there. It's not super good, right? You attach it, it doesn't do anything. So in that sense, it is objectively worse than a basic Psychic in essentially every situation. That being said, if you're in a different situation, like a weird situation, you could, especially if you say start Duskull, you could attach the energy to Duskull, grab like a Duskull and a Latias EX, or I'll just say two Duskulls because I think that makes a better example here, even though that's not in the deck. But if you attach it to a Duskull, get two Duskulls, which is a lot of bench space. But if you do that, then you retreat to like your Badu, and then you've got your board set up better as well. You're needing to attach to that energy to your active anyways to retreat, probably, maybe. You could also get a lot of SDX, and there's different situations. But overall, the energy is like okay there, and you can search it out with Hilda. As well as Colossus Tenacity. I actually mostly talked about this card in the video where I talked about Colossus Tenacity, which I think it is really interesting in, but with this deck, I think you would play higher counts of Hilda, and Hilda is kind of not good early, right? It doesn't really do anything. It doesn't get basics onto your board to set you up. That being said, that's not the deck. Let me find the deck or the card. I mean, Telepath Psychic Energy is setting you up your board, right? It's like almost giving Hilda an Arven role. Yes, you're kind of like not in quite the spot you want to be with your attachments, but it should be okay, especially with higher counts of Hilda. You'll be able to better find the deal up energy on the turn you need it, maybe. Falling behind energies is still bad, but I mean, setting up your board is also very important. So, overall, I really like the idea of this card in Dragapult. It's like a one of or a two of. I don't think this is super good in Dragapult, but I think it is an interesting discussion. I'm really interested in hearing people's thoughts down below in the comment section on whether this card should go in Dragapult. I got comments. Someone's like, yeah, it doesn't work on Dragapult. Like, if you attach it, it doesn't work, which is true. But it works if you are like in a little bit of a different situation, and if you attach it to Dragapult, it still is the Psychic. So I think that's interesting there. And generally, I do like this card paired with something like Hilda or Colossus Tenacity, something that searches special energies, and gets them to your hand, giving you an interesting toolbox of different things. In terms of special energies, there aren't really that many good special energies that like do something when you play them, right? There's ones that are like different types and things like that. But for the most part, there's mostly Telepath Psychic. There is Jet Energy, which is currently in standard. Jet Energy is rotating as well. Wait, Jet Energy is rotating, right? Yeah, that's definitely rotating. Yeah. Okay, so Jet Energy is rotating. Um, find the what? Oh, okay, there we go. So these are the special energies in standard. There we go. Okay, those are the ones that aren't rotating. And yeah, like these don't really do very much. I mean, Mist is like kind of good. I just talked about was it Rock Fighting Energy? Mist does like a similar idea there. And I guess Ignition can be good. And there's the A specs. The A specs obviously can be good, but they're also A specs, so you need to kind of um manage things there. But overall, I think Telepath Psychic Energy is a really, really interesting inclusion in some different decks. And I mean, it's very good, right? It's like a Buddy by Puffin on, well, like better than a Buddy by Puffin on an energy, right? And it's like kind of searchable. Talking about Colossus Tenacity, you could pair it with like Lumio City as well. I think you could play this within something like Control. There's some interesting control pieces. You could pair it with like Dedenne and I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how Control is going to look post rotation, to be honest. There's a lot of different things you could do with Control, and a lot of them are kind of mediocre. Overall, though, I'm really excited for this card. Also, the other cool play card is Strange Timepiece. I want to make a video talking about Psychic, but Strange Timepiece is like not very good. It's like okay in Alakazam. Honestly, it's alright in Alakazam, but you devolve one of your Psychic Pokemon by putting any number of evolutions attached to it or on it into your hand. And so this allows you to replay them to reuse abilities. It's a cool card. It's mostly used for, as I said, Alakazam. Some other wacky stuff. You can use it to reuse other abilities. You can actually reuse it to reuse this Tinket Tough, going from the Tinket Ton to the Tinket Tink, skip you over the Metal Pokemon, which is really funny. Not very good, but it's funny. And yeah, I mean this card's honestly it's okay. It's a really cool card, but it's not super powerful. But Telepath Psychic Energy is super powerful. I'm really excited to see what Psychic's gonna look like. Obviously in standard, I didn't say this, but in standard there was a very good Psychic deck in Gardevoir. Gardevoir is rotating. Most cards that are paired with Gardevoir. I mean Monkey Door could see play. Funnily enough, this card isn't super good with Monkey Dory. It's okay, but it's not a Darkness Energy, right? And I mean, I don't know exactly how Monkey Dory is going to see play. Oh, okay, going to see play in Marnews, right? Marnews, I imagine, is going to be very good, or like pretty good. It's not really losing much. compared to some other decks. Though it is losing some stuff. And then also, um, like something like Mega Absol or something could be playing it there. It's still going to be about as good there. But anyways, you look at cards like Jellicent EX and Frillish. Like, could you pair these cards with the new Psychic Energy? Obviously, the damage kind of stuff you're kind of losing out on. But something like Lotus Clefairy EX could use it. UEX is rotating, but Mega Dancy EX as well. So I'm really interested in seeing what this card is going to do with the rotation. I think it's going to be a really awesome card. That it's like coming out very soon / is out. Japan. I'm super excited to see what people are doing with it, and I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts down below in the comment section as well. But I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. And as I said, see you in the next video.